Hey, you like cars? We are back again for another glorious week of the CarQuicks Podcast. But before I get in there and do my thing, let's make sure we get it started correctly. Episode 95, CarQuicks Podcast. How are y'all doing out there? You know, I realized my last few episodes, I haven't actually spoken to the people out there like I normally do. Like, how are y'all doing? How's the family, the loved ones, the children? How was things going for you? I hope you're being blessed, that you are in alignment, that everything is going well. You're prayed up. Things are going well for you and your family and your goals and everything. I want to make sure that that is first and foremost the main thing in front of you. And then other things that come along with that too, as well as you go through your goals, just like I am as well. But today we're going to join together as fellow brethren. I can't even talk. As a brotherhood, a sisterhood, men and women together who love cars. A couple things happened. I took care of a couple things as well. We're going to get to that later in the episode. Let's just start off with Cherolet and what they've done to the C8. Not the new C8. The C8 isn't redesigned. But for 2026, they've done some fairly substantial upgrades when it comes to the interior. Now, we already know the ZR1 is coming out. They got the Zora testing over in Colorado right now. There's been some spy shots of those cars in parking garages. I don't even know what the power number is going to be on that. If the regular ZR1 is 1,064, the Zora, they said, might be over 1,200. I mean, pure absurdity, okay? I don't know what that's going to be, but we're here to talk about the interior, which is probably going to also be in the ZR1 and any of the other updated C8s that come on board. And the main thing they took away, if you remember the old interior, just looking at this picture on this video, and again, as I always say, like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the Spotify, to the Apple Podcast, tell a friend to tell a friend, and follow the journey. But if you look at the old interior, there was a wall of buttons that everybody talked about. Some people hated it. Some people thought it was convenient. I don't own a C8, so I don't know what to tell you if it was convenient or not from other owners, but I don't think it ever stopped anybody from buying the car. But if there's a critique, it was on that wall of buttons in the interior where they took that away. This is the new interior. It looks obviously the same. Wherever that wall was, just kind of omit that from the original picture, and then you just have a grab handle for the passenger on the side. But they did do some changes to like the displays. So there are 3 screens now. There is a 12.7-inch infotainment screen. There's a 14-inch digital cluster, and then there's a 6x6-inch auxiliary screen next to the digital cluster that you can use to configure things like performance data, traction. If you have an E-Ray, it'll show you battery information, trip mileage, and the main screen now runs Google built-in, so you get apps like Prime Video, probably YouTube. You can now watch on the screen itself when the car is probably parked. And there are 2 new exterior colors, Roswell Green Metallic and Blade Silver Metallic. The green color is very fire. It looks very dope. I like these manufacturers introducing green colors now. I like that, even though it's not my favorite color. But when it comes to cars, the weird thing is I like different colors. My favorite color is blue, but I'll definitely buy a green color car. Now, anyways, I wanted to talk about these screens real quick because if you listen to my podcast, you know I've critiqued the use of screens in vehicles as far as interior design and as far as how many we're using, right? And I'm not gonna lie, when I'm looking at the screen from if you think of like a jet fighter cockpit type of thing, it can look fairly cool. I'm sure at night, if you do a night shot, you'll be like, oh man, look at the screen, it's kind of cool. But I will say it's a lot of screen for a Corvette. It's a lot of screen for the driver. Even from the picture that I'm looking at, it's just, if you're driving at night, it's just a lot of visual data that I don't know is necessary in a performance car outside of the auxiliary screen, but just things are so large and only pointed towards the driver. That's kind of where I have a critique on this interior design with all these screens, is that they're focused on the driver. So you're standing there looking at 14-inch digital cluster. To your left is a 6.6-inch cluster. To your right is another 12 almost 13-inch cluster, digital display. It's like, man, how much information do I need? I mean, I'm sure it's good for if you want to visually see like navigation where you're driving, you can clearly see it bright as day, but it is a lot of screen. And maybe the buttons weren't a bad idea to have some in there. I'm always going to say this. I don't know how this looks later down the road. I'm not saying that interiors from Corvettes have been like this upstanding plateau of like interior design and quality, but I don't know. I just can't help but think about the future of these cars with these interiors and what we're going to think about later when it comes to everything being such a digital screen and display without any tactical feel. I just feel like it could have been geared more towards being like a sports car that's engaging the driver to drive as opposed to engaging the driver to read information. That's my thing. The screens to me introduce reading. It's like it's telling you you're in a performance car, but instead of you focused on driving and feeling what the car is doing, let me give you information on what the car is doing that you can read. Here's on the side, you got a cluster showing you your temperatures of your tires, your oil, your coolant, how what the engine's doing, the boost pressure. Over here, we got another screen showing your telemetry. You got your G meter over there. You're doing 1.2 Gs over here. You're braking at 0.7 Gs. Oh, over here, we also got the navigation for the road you're going down. And to me, if you're driving and you're trying to feel the car and just have an experience of driving, that's all just distractions, just information. It's like information overload. It's too much. We know too much. I mean, that's the society right now. We just have too much information. Some things are just like, if you think about people that grew up in like the 90s, early 2000s, when the internet was just beginning, they always say, right now, we just have too much information. And the way they build the cars is almost in that internet basis. It's in that internet era that we're in now, just like give you all the information, everything. Here's what the brakes are doing. Here's what the brake temperature is. Here's what the coolant's doing. Here's what this. I mean, obviously, I'm being a little facetious, right? Coolant and oil temps and all that are important to have as parameters to look at on any car because you want to know what those are doing. But I'm just saying in general, when it comes to like some of this information they put in the infotainment system on performance cars, it's a lot. And I don't know, if you look at drivers of race cars or high performance cars that are on the track, I mean, they do have some information, but a lot of times they're like, I'm driving this thing till the wheels can come off and I can feel what it can do. I will say it is an upgrade from the previous C8. It does look better. They have integrated the screens as best as they can in such a small cockpit. It's just a lot of screens. That's all I can say. It's just a lot of screens. Overall, though, the seat designs and everything else remains the same. Like I said, the power's exterior is all the same. You already know the models of the Corvette C8 that are coming out and which ones are already out now. You got regular C8s and Z's and different packages and Z06s, R1s, and the Zora coming out. So that's what they've done on the C8. That's the biggest update they have done recently, and it's a big deal because, like I said, usually they don't get an interior refresh that substantial in such an early lifespan of a vehicle. Normally they wait till the whole redesign, but I highly doubt they're going to be redesigning anything with the C8 anytime soon. Now, speaking about other car manufacturers that are, well, they're not in the same place as Chevrolet, and they're trying to right the ship, and that's back to Nissan. And I do have a little side thing about Nissan as well. I'm going to talk about in this, and what I'm talking about in this podcast. So Nissan, we don't even have to sugarcoat it. Nissan sales are down, right? The CEO of Nissan, when they did their last like fiscal update about what Nissan was doing for the US sales, he said it was absolute catastrophe for the brand, meaning the sales are so bad that he was like, if we don't turn this around immediately, okay, ASAP, right now, then we don't have a company in the coming months, right? And so in order to incentivize dealers to actually sell new cars, because one of the articles that I was reading and reports that came out said some dealerships are selling more used cars than new cars, which is nuts. I mean, imagine your Nissan dealership is slinging Toyota Tacomas left and right and Honda Civics. And the Sentra and the Frontier is just sitting right over there, brand new, and they're not moving them. And I'm sure that's probably happening. I might be joking about it, but it's not a far-fetched idea when it's come to what the reports are saying about them selling used cars. Now, in order to get them to sell new cars, because that's what Nissan needs to do, they just need to sell their new cars, whether it's inventory that's already out there, whether it's new cars that are coming in, they need to sell new cars. And so they got a pretty wild incentive. Here's what it is. It's a bonus structure for the dealerships. If the dealership hits 90% of their new car volume, they'll get an additional $350 per car sold. So to give an example, let's just say, and I don't run a Nissan car dealership or a car dealership at all, I'm just throwing out some random numbers. If it was let's say 1,000 new cars they had to sell. Let's say you had to have 1,000 new cars. And I got to get a calculator out because I don't even have the brain power right now to be doing the simple mathematics. Forgive me, okay? It just isn't that time, right? So let's just say they have 1,000 cars they have to sell, 1,000. And for each car they sell, they get $350 per car. Let's just see what that math is mathing like. That would be an extra $350,000 for the dealership. Now, I don't know if I'm saying 1,000, please don't jump in the comments talking about ain't no dealership moving 1,000 new cars. It's more like 300. I'm sure it's a low. I'm just throwing out a random number to say. But anyways, it's a lot of money to get per car on top of the new car. Now, that's just 90% of their goal. So if they sold 900 of the 1,000, if they hit their goal, it then turns to $600 per new car sold. Now that's major now. Let's just say it's 300 cars they have to sell. You see how much more money they're making in the dealership. Now, if they exceed the goal by 10%, they get 110%, like they hit their goal, knock it out 10% more, the bonus will double, meaning that 600 turns to 1,200 per car. If there was ever a time, if you went to go buy a new car, and I've critiqued Nissan before about why would you buy a Nissan over, I don't know, the counterpart from Toyota, Honda, or even Hyundai or Kia or anything like that. But I'm going to come back to that too, because I like to see things improve from these car companies and not all doom and gloom. And I like to be proven wrong. I mean, that's the whole point. We critique a thing, but I'm not against, hey, listen, things have changed. I'm back on board. So if you wanted to buy a Nissan or any new car, Nissan dealership right now is probably one of the best deals that you're probably going to get. They were already giving deals to get sales, but to be incentivized like this from the mothership, from Nissan themselves telling dealerships, you do this, we're giving you more money. They're doing deals, okay? They're cutting deals left and right. It's probably haggle city. You might come in there and be like, nah, I don't want to pay $35,000 for the Frontier. I want to pay $32,000. They might be like, bet, let's go. When do you want to sign up for? Because now when they have such a big bonus structure, they're willing to let that money go to get it on the back end. Now, I wanted to say something about Nissan without saying that some of the things are turning around, because I've been inside of the new Nissans. When I was at the Texas Auto Writers little auto roundup they did, I met some new people I've never met. I met a gentleman. He runs off a website called the Royal Texan. His name is Travis. I like his writing style. It's very good. If you don't know who he is, like I said, the Royal Texan on Instagram, and I think his website is theroyaltexan.co.uk. Check out his stuff if you don't know. Read his articles. He writes very well. I like how he writes. But recently, we're at another event that I'll talk about at the end of this podcast, but why I'm saying it now is because he had the new Nissan Rogue, right? He was testing the new Nissan Rogue. And I'm going to work my way to getting those test cars, okay? Just give me time. Give me time. Nissan's listening to me, okay? They're going to give me something. He had the new Nissan Rogue Platinum. And while we were at this event, he threw me the keys, said, hey, go check it out. I went to go check it out, and we were here talking about it. And I said, this is very nice. Now, I didn't get to drive it, but just from the interior, from the new update they did on the design of the Rogue, from the Platinum structure they had with the interior, with the trim, with the features, I'm like, this is a nice SUV. Very, very nice. Nice leather, soft touch materials. It had the brown leather interior on a dark, deep blue exterior color. The front end looks good. The LED lights, the power lift gates, the features they had inside, the stereo system, the way the steering wheel set up, the features, the cockpit, everything was good. The panoramic giant moonroof across the entire roof. I'm looking at this car and I'm like, you know what? One of the things that I can still critique Nissan about is that I feel like sometimes I don't even know that this stuff exists at this capacity. I'm a car person that reads about it, and I have to go and find out about how good a Nissan Rogue is looking right now. And I just don't really feel like I'm seeing that on the outside, right? Now, the event that I was at, I'll kind of give a little preview before I talk about it, was like a ride and drive event. But in my head, I didn't mention this to Travis while we were sitting there talking, but in my head, while I was looking at the vehicle, I was like, you know what? Dealerships really should do ride and drive events as a way to get sales without the salespeople being around. And what I mean is, get the people in dealership or product specialists and tell people Come down and drive our cars. We're not selling you anything. If you want to take our information, take it. And the reason why is because they're already at the dealership. They know where you're at. If they're really interested in doing this, they're just going to come back to you because they're like, hey, listen, you offered up your cars for me to test out, to look at, to play around with without any pressure. And I want to come back to you guys and see if you can work a deal. Dealerships should do that for all their cars. And if Nissan is trying to incentivize their dealership, if I owned a Nissan dealership and I was running it, trying to run these numbers up, I for certain would take out some ads in like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and say, listen, come down to Cameron's Nissan and I'm taking every single car we have and I'm offering up a slew of them to test drive. You want to drive the new Z? I got it. The Frontier, the Titan, the Sentra, the Kicks, the Rogue, the Armada, whatever you want to drive, I got them here. The Pathfinder, I got them lined up. Come and test drive them. Bring your strollers, bring your car seats. We got snacks. I got water. I got soda. I got Kool-Aid. I got Capri Suns for the kids. I got everything. Okay, come down here, try out the car. I'm not even allowing my salespeople to come near y'all, okay? They're going to be busy with the people who are buying cars, okay? Everybody else over here is going to be product specialists, managers. Listen, let them play with the car. It's a playground. Have fun. Test it out. See what you like about it. And if you do feel like buying one, you can go talk to our salespeople. If you want to think about it, go home. Hey, listen, we just wanted you to try it out. That to me will give you more equity with these people that already don't like dealerships. Nobody likes a dealership, okay? Nobody wakes up in the morning like, you know what I'm gonna do today? I want to waste 9 hours of my day at a car dealership haggling numbers. That's what I would do if I was a Nissan dealership. I don't know if any Nissan dealerships are listening to my podcast, but if somebody's listening to this that works at a car dealership, specifically a Nissan one, go to your GM or your manager and say, you know what we need to do? We need to do a ride and drive event and just let people experience the car so they know on their own. Let them just figure it out, try it out, no pressure. That's how you can get your numbers up without even having to try hard. Once you do that, people will be like, man, that dealership, I like that experience. I want to go and buy something from them. So Nissan they're doing everything they can to up these sales. I definitely want to see what this looks like whenever they do the next quarter run and when they checked out the numbers and what they've done to see if it actually improves stuff. But it is a do or die situation right now. Like it's not that it's impossible. It's just that they got work to do and they're recognizing they got work to do and they're trying to incentivize the people to do it. Now, speaking about another car company that is incentivized to try to do what has not been done yet. Okay. It hasn't been done. We have been talking about this. If you listen to my podcast, I've talked about electric cars, EVs, and the hurdle of making an engaging electric car. That is the hurdle, especially when it comes to sports cars, sports sedans. That's the hurdle. People have come very close. Hyundai with the Ioniq N, they got like drift mode. Dodge is trying it with the Charge EV. They got burnout modes and all these things like that. They're trying to make engaging vehicles. AMG, Mercedes-Benz, the AMG brand is making an EV sports car. Now, on paper, I honestly thought the same thing like most would think. It's just like, oh, AMG is making an EV car. I was thinking like the EQS AMG, you just throwing an electric car, battery, stuff inside of a AMG sedan and calling it a day. But their approach sounds similar to what BMW is doing with the M3 EV that's coming out. And yes, I am interested in what that's going to look like. I am very intrigued, considering what those engineers have been talking about and what they've been trying to push to do. The same thing, experience having a true sports car. Now, the boss of AMG, I can't even say his last name. It's spelled Scheiebe. Sheb, I can't say it. But anyways, he had a line that he was talking about when he was discussing the AMG EV sedan that's coming out. And this isn't a normal, just run-of-the-mill electric sports sedan in quotations. He said, we said when we came to the market with our first high-performance electric car, it needs to be a real high-performance car. I always say it needs to be an AMG first and an EV second. Now, the reason why that line is so, I guess you could say, is very important. Their platform for the AMG is called the AMG.EA platform. And what he's speaking to is saying, this has to match what AMG is known for. you can't just make an electric version of our CLS AMG or a C-Class AMG or any other AMG without actually offering some level of performance, and not even just some level, the exact level that an AMG buyer would come to expect with the name, the badge, and what we have known for our hand-built motors in an EV platform. And he went on further to say this. He went on to talk about its performance in the duties of being a performance car like on a track. He said the AMG EA platform will focus on delivering repeatable performance, and the German brand has its eye on the ultimate measuring stick, the iconic Nürburgring racetrack. If you drive a high-performance gas-powered AMG car, you can take the car on the track and accelerate, brake over and over. This is what the AMG EA needs to deliver. So he's saying that the platform that they're trying to build, the sports car that matches what AMG does, that gives the driver a visceral experience, that makes them engaged as they have always been in old AMGs, even the twin-turbo V8 ones that sounded like muscle cars. He's saying that when you then take it to a track or a back road or a mountain pass, that it can repeat that performance parameters and that performance level over and over and over again. Because the issue with EV cars is always the fact that, hey, you get 1 or 2 laps and this thing got to sit down and charge. The batteries are too hot. It got to cool down. You got to find a charger. Ain't no charger on the track. Got to leave the track, go down the street, sit there for 45 minutes charging on some random chargers that they have on there. And so they're saying we have to have repeatable performance. That's a very high bar because there isn't any. There isn't any performance EV sedan right now that has a constant, repeatable level of performance that he's talking about. If he's talking about the Nürburgring being the test bed of what they're trying to do, everybody else has had performance EVs that can, repeat a couple launches, go on the track here and there. I mean, at a certain level. He's speaking like they want this thing to run and run. Now, I don't know how much battery they have and how realistic, how many laps they're trying to really do. I don't even think Nürburgring is really a good litmus test for a lot of cars, because making a car perform on the Nürburgring almost always makes it a bad road car, because to perform on the Nürburgring at the highest level, it's got to be some compromises. Now, I don't know what the compromises are going to be for an AMG EV sedan. I do know this. The little renders, I'm going to show you, they recently put out a render of what this thing is going to look like, just a silhouette of it. I'm going to be honest. If it looks like this concept that they showed back in 2022, they said it's taking elements from that concept, and they showed off this like camouflage render. It's looking kind of fire. I cannot front. It's looking good, okay? And that's the one thing. If you're going to make an EV and you got to fight up the people that do not like EV cars at all, at least make it look good. If it looks good, we can then get past maybe it not being ice powered. Now, of course, it'll look so good. The first comment's going to be, man, what would that be like if it had the V8 twin turbo? They're definitely going to say that. But also, the V8 ain't dead, though. While he's been busy talking about the EV platform of AMG and how it needs to be an AMG first, and then it just so happens to be an EV, similar to what BMW's doing, they said it's an M3 first. It just so happens to be electric, meaning whatever you've known of the M3 and the AMGs is going to perform at that level. But if the V8s are your choice of propulsion, they're not dead yet. He said, we just launched a GT Coupe. There is some years to come with the V8. He didn't say about a successor to the GT 4-door. He said maybe there'll be a successor, maybe there won't be. But he didn't want to speculate. But what he was basically saying is that for the United States specifically, the United States, he said, is not a country that doesn't like the V8. It's true. We like our big engines. We like V8s. We like turbos. We like power. That's what we like. And so he noted that just in general, the United States market is keeping that V8 alive and well. And we saw that too. When they tried to bring out that AMG with I think it was the AMG GT Coupe, or maybe it was a C-Class one that had the 4-cylinder with the turbocharge and a hybrid platform, it wasn't bad. It's just that they put it in too high end of a car. Like if it was in a C-Class or smaller models, I'm like, cool. When you start trying to stick that type of platform in an AMG GT Coupe that costs $150,000 to $200,000, that ain't gonna fly. Even me, understanding numbers and performance, even I would be like, listen, I'm not spending $150,000 to pop the hood and see 4-cylinder turbos and hybrid platforms. No, sir. Okay. Big engine time. Okay. We know what we're here for. So AMG, the EV, I don't know when it's getting released. They didn't talk about release dates. They're working through making sure it performs first, even with BMW and the M3, that it has no release date yet. But AMG is working to deliver true AMG performance inside of an electric vehicle. I'm intrigued to see them pull this off. I want to see this work. I'm a proponent of technology and introducing new things, and I think that they can pull this off. If they're that focused on it, they can do it, and we'll see what happens next. Now, speaking about another new car that's coming, definitely dropping down much lower. It's just kind of a cool little car. A new Corolla got announced. No, it's not a GR, not the GR MN version coming out in the fall, but it is a new Corolla. It's called the FX, paying homage to the 1987 Corolla, the FX16. Now, it's the same Corolla hatchback that even my GR Corolla is based on. It now is available in like an orange color, which that might be already a color I already had, but it has white wheels on it, 18-inch white wheels, which is a nice change of pace for all the black wheels they keep throwing on cars because, come on now, black wheels just don't even look good. Like, honestly, like I have black wheels on my car, but even the times I think about getting some aftermarket black, I'm always like, no, you just can't even see the details. But anyways, 18-inch gloss white wheels on this Corolla FX, orange color. The seats inside are literally pulled from, these look like my seats in my GR Corolla. I mean, dead on the same exact ones with orange stitching, suede inserts. 1,600 examples are going to be built. They didn't talk about the price, but they said it's about $2,000 more than the top trim SE model. No extra power, but just kind of like a special edition. And I am going to say one thing. For us that have the GR Corolla Core model, this interior shouldn't be this nice. Because, like, for you to get the interior this nice that they have in the Corolla FX in the top tier, top of the line GR Corolla, you got to get a premium or premium plus model, which is funny to see it in the FX model. Like, the FX model got soft trim, orange stitching, suede inserts. I'm like, hold on now. We can't get that. And we can get it, just got to get the premium version of the GR Corolla. Now, somebody's going to say, well, you bought the Core, that's what you get. I got the Core because I'm going to change out the seats anyways eventually in my car, and I don't feel like paying top dollar for suede inserts when I'm just going to take it anyways. Now, I will say this. Speaking about my GR Corolla before I get to the GR Corolla updates, I will say eventually, at some point in time, somebody's going to part out a crash Corolla with this premium material, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to be there trying to see if I can finesse. Now, the Corolla hasn't been redesigned. There is no more power. It doesn't look any different. I don't even know if we're continuing the Corolla after this model year, 2026. It has been a long time that this model and this chassis has been out. I'm sure Toyota has something on the back burner they're working on. Does it also mean that there's a new GR Corolla? Does it mean there's all this speculation? Who knows? I think the GR brand is kind of very much separate from when Toyota does the regular models as well. The Gazoo Racing operates at their kind of own timeline and their own thing that they're doing, but it does have a connection to the regular model cars that are coming out. But if you're looking at getting the standard Corolla and you're looking at an XXE or SE or anything like that, maybe try out the FX model. The wheels look a lot better. This white color looks good. I don't know what other exterior colors there are. You also get a little roof spoiler on there. Orange is the color they're showing that you see on the picture, but I'm sure there's probably white on white, black, blue. Funny enough, they get all the colors. The regular Corolla, again, gets all the colors. We got none of those options on the GR Corolla. If there was an orange or a yellow or a green one, or, well, there was a blue one now with the special edition one they made, the Circuit Edition, that blue flame one. But if there was like yellow or a green, I certainly would have thought about that as well, too. Now, getting into what I talked about before I get out of here, we were at an event. Actually, at the recording of this podcast, the event happened yesterday. And it was a ride and drive event from the Houston Auto Show. And I like the Houston Auto Show organization. I've talked to them. I've met them. Great people. They put on great events. Anybody that's organizing the auto shows for like cities, you know, when you go to big cities, they have like the New York Auto Show, LA. The Houston Auto Show, I'm always going to be a fan of and always be an advocate of it, getting better and better and better each year and continuing on for years to come. So they hosted a ride and drive event that I went to. Bought a little ticket, brought my wife along because I wanted her to just, I wanted her to experience some of these cars. I know I talk about it a lot. She hears me talk about it, but sometimes talking and experiencing it from the seat of your pants changes everything that you understand about the cars. Now, I was going to get her to drive some of the cars, but she isn't good with like jumping into a brand new car, not knowing anything about it and just hitting the road. Okay. I'm easier at doing that. I can find controls, get things, get comfortable, and be like, all right, let's go. Let's have fun. So we went to this ride and drive event and they had a slew of manufacturers there. They had Porsche, they had Lucid, they had Ineos, which are Grenadiers, they had Acura, they had Mercedes. Who else did they have? I'm missing somebody. They had GMC with their Denali EV. And I think that's it. I think I named all the people that are there. Oh, they had Alfa Romeo, they had Maserati as well too. And that was it. But they had all the cool stuff they had. Like Mercedes, for instance, brought out a Maybach. No, we couldn't drive that. They brought a GT, AMG GT. That looked absolutely sick. The Maybach, I threw my wife in the backseat, said, you got to try this out. I've been inside of a Maybach before and have been driven in one. But she hadn't. And so she sat in the back, messed around with the seat controls, putting like the airplane mode. She's like, this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, yep, it costs as much as our house. She's like, wow, that's insane. So we experienced sitting in there. But then we drove some of the other cars. The first car I kind of jumped into was a GMC Denali EV. I was impressed. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's an expensive truck. $90,000 for a Denali EV. Big wheels, 24-inch wheels. I mean, digital displays, all those things. I was recording the videos of me driving these cars, kind of like a candid like point of view. Nothing like official like I did with the Texas Auto Riders because I didn't have that type of time. And we were with the product specialist. So I just kind of had my wife recording me as I'm driving. And I would jump out and just a quick 30-second blast of what I felt when I was driving the car. Just a little short little route they had around the area that we're at. We're over in this area, Old Katy Road in Houston, Texas. But I drove the GMC Denali EV. And that thing drives really good. Like, it's smooth, quiet, powerful. All the features from the midgate to the interior space to the height you have with the sides. My wife, she was sitting aside and she's like, yeah, this is nice. Very nice. Like, I can see why people drive it. One of the cool features of it too was the 4-wheel steering on it, because when I came back to like back it up and park it, I was actually going to do like a turn. I was thinking I'm going to have to do like a couple turns to get this in there. I like turned the wheel. I'm like, how am I making a turn this sharp? And I was like, this has 4-wheel steering, doesn't? The product specialist was like, yeah, it does. I could tell because I just cut that corner and I did not think I can make it. But just in general, just driving it for that short period of time, I definitely can see living with that. And we talked about the mileage. The range of it's high. I mentioned this probably in my video about the Houston Auto Show when I was talking about it, when I saw it there too. But the range is high, like up to 600 miles. It's just like, it makes it where you're like, this is a livable amount of range where I don't have to worry and stress out about anything. When I was talking to the gentleman that was working for the dealership, he said, I've taken this thing from here to Sugar Land to back, come over here, went back to run trips, went out to dinner, came back. Like, he did all these things and said it still had, when he came to that ride and drive event, like 400 miles of range. And he probably didn't even use up even a quarter of that while we were in there doing that small route. So I drove the GMC EV. After that, we jumped into the Lucid Air. And I've never driven a Lucid. So I was excited to drive a Lucid. I drove a Lucid Touring. And again, my wife, she gets in there. She's like, wow, this is impressive. I've never seen one, never been in one, but she immediately liked the outside look of it. We drove down the street of that, jumped in there, hit the power, made like, that model thing made like 500 to close to 600 horsepower in the EV drivetrain. I hit it. She's like, okay, that's extreme as far as feeling that instant torque. And I mean, she's been in my car, so she knows real power, you know what I'm saying? A GR Corolla, you know what I'm saying? Like, she knows, okay? She knows. But the Lucid Air was a fun drive. The feature that she liked the most was I was messing with the controls in the center console and found that it had massaging seats in the front. She turned on the massaging seats and was like, this is great. My butt feels amazing. Like, she was like, this is the best feature on here. And it was actually a true like massage. You know, when you see that, I'm always thinking massaging seats. I mean, it's like a real massage. It felt like them giant chairs that you can buy that cost like $5,000. It was so good. I was like, I don't know if you want to drive with the massage feature on, because like if you get too relaxed, you just gonna go to sleep. Like, if you had self-driving on, you weren't needing to put your hands on the wheel or brake. Plus, you do want a massage feature, night. Like, you're going to bed. You're going to be like, yo, just take me home. Hopefully, I get there. So we drove the Lucid Air. After that, I jumped into the Acura Type S. Now, this was a big deal because, funny enough, I had my GR Corolla parked over in the distance. A few people thought Toyota brought the GR Corolla to drive. because when I got into the Type S, I was like, yeah, I drive a GR Corolla. And him and another guy I was talking with were like, yo, that's yours up there? I said, yeah. He was like, we thought Toyota brought the GR Corolla for us to test as well. I was like, nah, it's mine. And he was like, I really want to get your input on the Type S. So I've never driven an Integra Type S. And I was like, but I have driven the Civic Type R, the FL5. So I'm familiar with the platform in a way. And so I went to drive this one, and he was like, I want to know what you think about it. So I'm driving it. We drive it hard, accelerate, get into the gears. And I said, this is extremely refined. Like the Integra Type S is very, very, very good. Like it's refined. You can tell Honda has been doing this for decades. The shifter is one of the best in the world, okay? It feels better than a GR Corolla one. I'm not even going to sit here and lie to y'all. The Honda shifters are top tier, okay? Top tier. So the shifter felt great. The power feels good. But I was explaining when I was talking to the product specialist, I said, here's the thing. I can feel the front wheel drive kind of pulling me forward, like kind of tugging me back. I can't explain it that well, but it's like a pull forward if you've driven a front wheel drive car with a lot of power. Compared to the GR Corolla, which is kind of like squats and goes. It just has a different experience and different power delivery. And I said, here's the thing too. The GR Corolla is more raw of an experience. It is not as refined interior-wise as the Integra Type S. Integra Type S is a better interior. We know that. It's leather. It's a better stereo system. It's quieter, a little bit bigger. It's just an overall, I guess, better living experience inside of the car. But it is a little bit isolated. And when you get into the power, I just wasn't getting that visceral experience, that rawness that you get from the GR Corolla, what I had in the old WRX STIs, or you have them in Evo 8s and 9s. He understood that because he drives a C6 Z06. And he was like, I know what you're talking about. I drive a C6 Z06. And I was like, oh, you already know. He was like, yeah, the rawness is hard to explain to people that are looking at you like, so you want the car to rattle? And I'm like, no. It's just about the power delivery. My car doesn't rattle. He's like, nah, mine doesn't either. It's just the experience of how the power gets introduced, what you can hear and what you can feel. And while the Type S is very, very good, I can tell I knew why I didn't go that route. Like after I drove the car and my wife, she's like, no, it's nice. It is really nice. And I said, it's probably going to be hard for you to compare to my car because you're just mostly a passenger. And she said, your car feels like an experience, like something's happening, like things are happening. This kind of feels like every other Acura sedan. It's just a little bit quicker. And she probably explained it better than I did. And it was just, I like bringing people who don't have like car enthusiast opinions, just regular people. And she was correct. I mean, the car is excellent. Excellent. Like there's no knock to it. This is all just splitting hairs by personal preference. Honestly, that's all it is. So drove the Type S. After that, we jumped into the Porsche Macan EV, and I was excited to drive this because I've read about the Porsche Macan. I talked about it. I like the Porsche Macan EV, even though there's rumors that there might be a gas-powered one coming out because everybody else isn't feeling the idea of just an EV version Macan. But I drove the EV one, and it sounds dope inside. It sounds like Star Wars. And the gentleman that was working for Porsche said that that's actually real electric motor sound with a little bit pumped into the speakers. But if you turned it all off, all the sound I was hearing that sounded like a Star Wars pod racer moving forward was from the electrical motors. Powerful SUV. Okay, we put it in Sport Plus mode. It gets moving. And I just like the way outside looks. It's fun. It looks good. It had a nice blue color. It's not the biggest thing inside. Because when I had my seat where I would normally sit, that back seat was like non-existent. Though I am 6'3", so it's kind of hard for me to compare interior space on cars that normal people would be perfectly fine with. But the Porsche Macan EV, it's good. Like, it's really good. I enjoyed my time at that. I then went into the Ineos, the Grenadiers, those big boxy Land Rover Discovery, old Land Cruiser type vehicles, SUVs. It reminds you of like G-Wagons. Raw, unfiltered, true truck, tank-like. You sit up high. The one I was in, a gentleman that worked for the Ineos dealership, he had modified with like a 2-inch lift, bigger Vossen wheels, other little things they put on the outside. They had like the little ladder on the rear. They had the little strap downs at the top. They had a snorkel. It was ready for action. Drove that. Those are powered by B58 BMW motors, so it has very decent power. Now, I will say this. The model that I drove, I should have driven one that wasn't modified, because what I did not like about driving that particular one was that the 2-inch lift in the wheels he had put on it, I could tell the steering and everything was just, it's better because he put casters and all those things to correct the steering so that it feels as close to the factory one as it can. But I can tell we were jacked up and lifted, and it felt more wobbly or like wandery when you're driving and trying to go through corners and turns. I'm sure the stock one feels a lot more planted than that one did, but that's just that's the caveat. That's the ups and downs, the pros and the cons you got to do when you decide to lift a truck or anything of that nature. But as far as why they're doing so good, I get it. As far as offering off-road capability, overland, they had one that had a tent on it, a roof tent, and an outdoor awning and things like that you can put in attached to it. Fire. Looks dope. I mean, I understand why people love these things, and it does drive good. It feels like it's built to last for an eternity. And the switch gear they have in there is really old school. Like on the roof, they had like a bunch of switches and gears for like the 4-wheel high, low, the power locks, the power windows. It was very analog. And it's kind of cool to get into a car in 2025 when we are bombarded by screens to have something so analog. So after I drove in the Ineos, we also drove in the Maserati. At first I said it was a Levante because it looks just like the Levante. Came out the car and the product specialist was like, actually, no, it's the Corolla. I'm like, yo, this looks just like a Levante. Now, he kept it 100 with me. He did say, when we first got this, we put in the dealership in the lot next to the Levante, and we couldn't tell the difference. It's so close. Now, the Corolla was a 300 horsepower turbo, I think a turbo 4-cylinder type of sports SUV that competes with the like Porsche Macan or like the BMW X3M or the Mercedes, I guess you could say the GLC AMG ones. So that model was actually very impressive because I wasn't prepared for it to actually drive as it did and have so fast of a shifting automatic transmission. So I had an 8-speed automatic transmission in it. It's all under the Stellantis group. I don't know what model and car that one got pulled from, but I do know we jumped on I-10 real quick, gave it the beans, and it was banging gears, full on backfiring sound that you hear from the exhaust as it was shifting to it. He was like in the backseat, like, oh, he knows what he's doing. It was having a good time. That car was impressive because that SUV, because I had no expectations. Like I approached it like I've seen these before. I'm wondering how they are. And one thing I do like about Maserati is that whenever you do get in their interior, from their steering wheel to the dash layout, it does always lean into their racing heritage. Like the steering wheel is like a circular, almost flat bottom steering wheel that looks not out of place inside of a sports car. So it's nice to get that experience inside of an interior SUV. If I was going to critique something, I know the exterior needs a redesign. Like it looks good. It's understated. But I think that the interior with the way the steering wheel looks doesn't match the exterior. Like the exterior needs to look more aggressive, elegant to me. I just know that they've been making that model and that whole lineup for a long time, and it's long in tooth. But the overall package of what I drove, even when it came to the Sennheiser sound system that they had in there, sounded excellent, and it drove good. I went from that to Alfa Romeo. They had a Tonale there, but I've already driven the Tonale when I was at the Texas Auto Writers Auto Roundup. So I drove the Stelvio, which they had in that green color. The green color looks awesome. My wife, she saw it. She was like, I like this green color. And she's like, that's why she was walking towards it. She said, I want to drive in that strictly based off the outside color. Now, when we did drive it, that particular model, which I didn't realize in the lineup from Stellantis, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio was like a notch below the Maserati, like a couple notches down, because that model we were in was like a 280 horsepower, same turbo engine that the Corolla had, just detuned. But even though Alfa Romeo has those cool steering wheels and how they look as far as their racing heritage, having driven the Tonale, what I can say is that the Tonale gets so close to the higher priced Stelvio that I almost was like, you can get like 85% of this experience in the Tonale, and the other 15% that this offers is more so exterior look and maybe interior space, but not in experience of driving and performance. Even though we were not in like the super veloce, crazy high performance one that they do offer, that might have changed things when you get to the higher trim. The trim level that they had, I wouldn't consider that one. I would have to go up even higher, because the Maserati I drove was like a $73,000 one, and this one was like probably 60 something, which is all very expensive, but I would have had to jump up a notch to get to like a level where I felt it matched what I drove in the Maserati. So after I dealt and drove with that car, I did get into the Mercedes GLC AMG. And let me tell you, boy, I've always liked the GLC. To me, they look like little hatchbacks, but they had the AMG one, the 63 one. It's powered by a turbo 4-cylinder that makes like 500 horsepower with a 200 horsepower hybrid system, which altogether is like a 700 horsepower situation. This thing was faster. Okay, for a little SUV like this, 9-speed automatic, we went down on a long little road route that we took. We went on a long route just to experience this little SUV. Interior wise, I always love the AMGs, how they look, even with the big screen, the dials. This one is kind of still in their old school styling, no hyper screen on it. But just the performance, I had my wife in the car. She was in there like, yeah, this is fun. And it sounds crazy. Like the exhaust note, when you put it in like the Sport Plus, Premium Plus level of the drive modes, all the way to the top, I got it all the way into race mode. This exhaust was backfiring, burbling, gurgling. The power and the performance, I came back, I was like, oh, this is a good time. They're not cheap, though. He even told me you can get up to like $115,000, $120,000 with the options. But just driving that around, I was like, yeah, this is that visceral experience in an SUV. Between that and the Macan EV, those are the best performance SUVs, and the Maserati. The Maserati, because it just surprised me. I was like, this Corolla is good. I like this. The AMG was a step above, but I mean, obviously it costs like $30,000 more. So I would expect it to be a step above, even by looks and performance, power, interior seats with the suede and the buckets and all that. Excellent. So we had a good time. The ride and drive is why I was talking about that with the Nissan dealerships and everything, because that type of experience of being able to get into those cars without sales pressure and just enjoying it and being able to drive it as many times as you want over and over again is why I like the Houston Auto Show organization, because that was a dope event. And if they're listening to this podcast, please do more of those, okay? That's an excellent time, because I always say when people get to experience these things without a sales pressure environment, the auto show is that experience of being able to sit in it, experience it. But the ride and drive to me is like another level. And even though they do ride and drives at the auto show, this was an even better one because it was curated for that event. It was in a nice location. They had refreshments. They had people that answer questions, water, drinks, whatever you needed, little things, freebies they were giving out. So it was a good time. I liked recording it. I'll have a video of that up. If you listen to this podcast, it probably is going to come after I upload the podcast. But there is a video of that coming out of me just having my time there. But before I leave, GR Corolla updates. I have more parts coming. I'm working with a company called Sumo Performance. Even though I'm not getting a performance-related part, I'm getting more of an aesthetic outside part, and that is some side view mirrors. They're like, it replaces the glass inside of the side view mirrors, like more, I'm saying convex, but that's not the right term. It's basically changing it to like a blue tint one that helps with people behind you who got their high beams on, gives you a better field of view. And I'm going to put those on to test them, to review them. And they reached out to me on Instagram, actually. I actually missed their e-message, and I messaged them back and said, hey, I'm interested. Let's work together. They said they're excited to have me on board because I guess my work has been making its rounds. I've been doing so much stuff on a GR Corolla, and I've said this for many podcasts, that I want to make sure I'm not only the platform for automotive podcasts and news and reviews, but for the GR Corolla, because I love that car and that platform. So I have that part coming. The channel is doing great. Baby steps are working and working are working. That is the whole point of this journey, baby steps. So Past the Fob, which is my playlist series of me reviewing the cars, has been excellent. I've had the Texas Auto Rider reviews going up. I have a few more to put up there. I just put up the one for the Genesis G80. What an amazing luxury car. And I have more to come. The podcast is getting close to the 100th episode. That's a big deal. And everything else is going according to plan, even if it's not. Even if something blocks my plan or puts in a hurdle, it's still going according to plan because I'm still going to get over that and I'm still going to execute. So, thank you for joining me. As I always say, do as you wish and do as you may. This is another episode of the CarQuicks Podcast. I'm Cameron Biggs, your host. I will be back next week. Come and join me. If you haven't told anybody about this podcast, if you haven't liked it, if you haven't subscribed to it, if you haven't told your coworkers, your friends, please do. Let it get bigger and bigger. That's the whole point of this. I'm going to be here until I can no longer talk. I'll see y'all around. Peace.